So, like I said, this is not my word. This is not me reading this. I know there's a lot of cultural sensitivities around this topic, and the word says what it says, right? And the best that we can do is learn from it. Learn, ask for wisdom to understand what the word means. And I know there's a lot of emphasis on sexual morality, but it's also revealing the type of relationship, excuse me, the type of relationship we should have with our own bodies and what our purpose is, which is to steward our bodies in everything that we do, whether it's the food that we eat, the rest that we take, the movement that we do. So let us reflect and just keep everything in mind. So 1 Corinthians 6 is not polite scripture. It doesn't begin with encouragement. It doesn't ease into correction. It confronts disorder head on. Paul is speaking to a church that knows God, confesses Christ, and yet lives as though their daily choices are disconnected from their faith. The chapter opens with public disputes, lawsuits among believers, a community that looks more like the surrounding culture than the kingdom it claims to belong to. And then Paul asks a question that echoes through the entire chapter. Do you not know? Do you not know who you are? Do you not know what you belong to? Do you not know what your life is meant to reflect? This chapter is about identity before it is about behavior. Paul reminds them that they were once something else, that their past included confusion, brokenness, disorder, desire, misuse of freedom. But then he says something decisive. This is what some of you were. But you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified. In other words, your old patterns do not get to define your present posture. And yet the problem remains. The Corinthians are using freedom as permission. They are separating spiritual life from physical life. They are treating the body as neutral territory, something to manage, indulge, or discard without spiritual consequence. Paul dismantles this lie completely. He addresses a phrase the Corinthians seem to be repeating to justify themselves. Everything is permissible. And Paul responds, not by denying freedom, but by reframing it. Everything may be permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Everything may be permissible, but not everything builds. Everything is permissible, but not everything should rule you. This chapter exposes one of the most subtle forms of bondage, being ruled by things we insist we are free to choose. Paul goes further. He challenges the idea that the body exists merely for appetite, pleasure, or consumption. He says the body is not meant for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. That sentence alone shapes everything. The body is not incidental to faith. The body is not a temporary shell. It is not spiritually irrelevant. God does not save souls and ignore bodies. He redeems the whole person. Paul reminds them that God raised the Lord from the dead, and he will raise us also. Resurrection is not abstract, it is physical, which means what we do in the body matters because the body is not disposable.